Alright, I'm doing this video because of a conversation I had with Rogue Monk on YouTube. Um, we were talking about the whole how martial arts are supposed to be internal and about fighting yourself and not fighting other people. And well, here's the thing about it: martial arts exist as martial arts. They're the arts of war. They're military application, or at least they were intended for military application. Now, the problem is in the military, you have to overcome yourself. You have to be mentally tough and you have to face your own weaknesses and your own difficulties. You have to accept that and you have to push past that. Defeating your enemy is, in a way, a metaphor for defeating yourself. That's true. And there's also the realistic application to this that eventually you start seeing the same traits that you see within yourself being projected onto the enemy, being displayed by the enemy, and eventually you start seeing some common ground between you and the enemy. Um, so when you're, and this applies to sport martial arts too, because when you're talking about competition forms, you're talking about facing an opponent, uh, and you start seeing elements of their personality that are very similar to elements of your personality. And whether you hate that person or not, whether you dislike them or not, the person you're fighting does show things which are similar to you. In fact, most of us, especially when it comes to social violence, we attack people who we suspect are weaker than us, but have a lot of similarities between us. So you kind of see that element there. Now, to say that martial arts are completely internal or completely about fighting the person within, I disagree with. Um, for the very reasons I've stated. There's what you see in the person outside of you that you're dealing with, and there's what you see within the person that you are. Where the problem comes in at, I think, is that most people don't look at it in that way. It's either external or internal, and it can't be a combination of both. Having dealt with external martial arts, having been a veteran, having trained with guys in the military, having trained with guys who were formerly in the military, I've even had the pleasure of training with a gentleman who was a Navy SEAL at one point in time, who became an Army Ranger just so he could be stationed in Columbus, Georgia, uh, by his fiance, now his wife. Um, and you have to realize when you're talking about actual combat, it's very different from fighting in the ring. But on a psychological level, it's very much similar. So I kind of understand where a lot of the sport competitors come from. I kind of agree with that. On the idea that sport martial arts do prove a lot about you because there's an extent to what your body is willing to do and to what your mind is willing to make it do. A lot of people refer to this as having heart. Uh, the Army refers to it as mental toughness. So does the Marine Corps, incidentally. Uh, and I don't think there's a difference between the external struggle and the internal struggle. I think they're just two sides of the same coin. It's still that struggle. To paraphrase Buddha, all life is struggle, therefore, or all life is conflict. I'm sorry. To paraphrase Buddha, all life is conflict. Therefore, we should, joyously participate in the conflict that is life. Um, Now, as far as anything else, you might disagree with me on this. You might not. I was looking on my webcam. I have no little pirate stuff to bring up here, but hey, this is for you, man. Drunken Wolverine Ninja Kung Fu Pirates. you know, uh, I took the name Drunken Wolverine Ninja Kung Fu because it didn't matter. It was some idiot's attempt at an insult. And I found it rather funny. And since we were talking about street fighting, well, it doesn't matter what you call it. It's still street fighting. Um, the only reason most street fighters can beat martial artists is because one level of experience. They have a lot more experience fighting within social violence encounters. So when they step that up to criminal violence or the asocial violence common to combat, um, it they're a little bit more psychologically prepared for it than your average, let me go to a martial arts class, haven't been in a fight since high school type of people. And I've kind of learned that, oddly enough, high school actually kind of prepared me for life because, well, there's a lot of the same stupid dumb jock mentality and a lot of people who are assholes uh, in real life as they were in high school simply because they think they're better than someone else or whatever. Um, but this here is basically my response, talking about that whole concept. If anyone wants to, make your comments in the comment box or have an open dialogue discussion with me about the difference between internal and external conflict, that's cool. I'm down for it. Thank you all.